now I remember my daughter, I mentioned it to her. Yeah. My daughter picked up my purse and she said, wow, that's heavy. And I said, I know, I haven't cleaned it out in a long time.
That's nothing compared to wives or
Ah.
purses.
Well,
Bigger.
the bigger the purse, the more you put in it.
I know. Yeah, she can't find anything in it. She gotta dig all through the
Yeah.
bottom of it. And she'll clean it out and start over pretty soon. She's back to the big
It's
one.
packed up again, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a mommy thing.
It must be because men have a couple of things in their pocket,
Yeah.
and maybe a wallet.
Wallet,
That's it. We can go anywhere.
that's it,
Doesn't
yeah.
matter, Anywhere.
Yeah. But, no, we carry tissues for kids and Band-Aids and medicine and by the by a wallet. And by the by a wallet. Yeah. Okay.
Well, you got all this figured out, Jim?
Oh, I have. Brief look at it. I know what the piece of property is.
There's not a lot to figure out.
What's here? That's it right there.
Yeah.
Is it this one?
No,
Where is it?
this one,
Oh, okay.
right behind them.
Right
Junior
behind
high.
the,
And then the next page shows you the eight lots they want to
the
do.
lots they wanna do.
Sale to people everyone. Well, I mean, I'll be honest, I don't know, none of the subdivision stuff, I'm sure.
Eight houses.
So. It was just the one. That, I'm just, it's just that. Yeah, and then you would have to come and
Mhm.
the rest, so. So, like you said. It's a split in the road. But to BLA and then the two fourth class. This. Yeah, I knew you was. I've seen that on other jurisdictions, where it's, Bristol,
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it was, getting around the requirements that would be triggered if it was. The state. Well, it was used for, it was on the.
How the fuck you went down there tonight?
They want you-
Well, I saved that seat for you, Herb.
Thank you.
I figured somebody else was gonna show up.
Oh, Jason.
Mhm.
No.
Lisa coming tonight, do you know?
There's the Hershey's.
Sorry.
I don't know.
That's it.
I didn't hear from him.
Hershey's.
So I was, wait a couple
That was the one up in Boston County. That, essentially, created a court recognition and. Groundwater is types of water. Like everybody.
That's an understandable
But
thing. This
it goes minimally linked or something.
I wanna have That's still pretty years. That's
Shanty Town, that's.
That was historically.
That was the old,
Is different ecology issues.
dwelling in Seattle
Except for the water, right?
during the Depression.
Why do we have?
Well, the way that
It's coming in.
laws are written is for the. Well, the water.
Historical.
For county to issue a building permit.
I think that's where the
And.
football field is.
You have to go river basin.
Baseball field. It's built on this plot of land, I think.
So this is stuff that's been found here.
Oh, that was,
Yeah.
it was, no, those are just things that are examples of things that they should be looking for.
If we find anything like this,
Then we're close.
then you can quit building and forget the whole
Yeah.
thing. Better off to go bury it somewhere else. If you find one of these, you're done. You gotta build nothing.
I think it's only if the Indians.
Yeah, but if you tell somebody, you found this thing right here,
Oh, yeah.
you ain't gonna build nothing. They're gonna take your property.
Call the meeting of mapping planning commission to order at 6:07 PM. Rise to the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Take a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Take order the roll call, please.
Commissioner Hurd. Commissioner Hurd.
Here.
Commissioner Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Adam.
Here.
Commissioner Davis. Here. And Commissioner Mara. No more.
Okay, we had a meeting last Thursday, and the minutes are on the next page, I think. Any additions or corrections to those? Need a couple minutes to read it if you need to. Any additions or corrections to those meeting minutes? Here a motion to approve.
I move that we approve the September 11th meeting minutes as they are.
Minutes have been moved to approve as are. There, second,
Second.
seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Okay, now Lux State Lot subdivision.
All right, so, thank you, Planning Commission, it's just so. Oh, yeah. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can.
All right, so my name is Byron Gums. I work with the Yakima Valley Conference of Governments and represent NAV10 for planning matters, and I prepared the staff report for the Lux 8-lot subdivision. The property is probably familiar to you. Earlier this year, we processed a rezone to rezone the property from R1 to R2 to allow for higher density residential development on the site. The developer is following up with this 8-lot preliminary plat. They're wishing to create 8 1-acre lots that they will either develop themselves or maybe sell the lots for residential development. The property, as I mentioned, is zoned R2. The future land use map designation in the comprehensive plan is residential. Looking at the different goals and policies in your comprehensive plans, land use element and housing element, it meets those goals. The surrounding property to the north is used for agriculture and has a single family home on it. The property to the east is agriculture in nature. To the south is the Arts Fox Elementary School. And then to the west is single family neighborhood in, I don't know if the neighborhood has a name or anything like that, but residential subdivision. The way that the process works is my staff report is prepared and presented to the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission holds a hearing where they consider the staff report. They consider any sort of public comment, either from the developer or the representative or any members of the community. And then have a recommendation that they place to the city council, and the city council makes the final decision on whether or not to approve the proposed subdivision. My staff.
Did we have any public comments?
Do I ask a question?
Sure.
This is not a building proposal, then it's just
Correct, it's creating, so right now it's just two
they're
vacant,
subdividing it to sell the lots.
No, not necessarily.
a combination of development and selling. I think I'm getting into supposition here, but I think the developer's intent is to develop on some of it. And then depending on how the market evolves, continue to develop or perhaps sell some of the land. But it's creating 8 separate individual lots from the 2 that are existing now. We received the application at the end of July, and in August, we provided notice through mailing to adjoining property owners and interested agencies. The legal notice advertising for this hearing was in the Sunnyside Sun on September 3rd and 10th. The final SEPA threshold determination was issued earlier this week after the comment period ended on Monday. As Monty mentioned, no comments were received. Then tonight is our open record hearing, and then city council at a date in the future, they have a closed record hearing. So what that means is there isn't any new testimony or anything that can be added to the record at the city council meeting. It's a review of the record and the recommendation from Planning Commission that they base their decision on. Within my staff report, I just discussed some of the development standards in the zoning district that really isn't too much to worry about at this stage because the lots are so large. It'd be different if it were like some of the other subdivisions where it was the 7,000 square foot lot or so. But the proposed lot sizes exceed all of the minimum standards that we have. There's some other development standards included that only get addressed once a building permit has been applied for. Things like property line setbacks, number of off-street parking spaces required. A lot of that depends on the scope of the proposed development. So for example, if he's wanting to build a 10-unit apartment building, you're going to be looking at different parking standards than if it were a 25-unit parking, right? So the subdivision design and improvement standards. So that's on page 5. It speaks to the lot design, so direct access to public streets, which it does. We have direct access to 7th Avenue, Monroe Street, and Vance Road. There's a requirement that lots that front on 2 streets shall be avoided whenever possible. And that's usually when there's 2 main roads that the lot could access from. We don't really have that here. We have corner lots, which depending on the proposed development, it's a corner lot. It doesn't necessarily have that 2 frontage. Block design, there is a standard within the development regulations that has a maximum length of a block being 1,000 feet. The overall block between the elementary school and this proposed subdivision, that the whole block is over 1,000 square feet, but it's grandfathered in, it's non-conforming, so we're not requiring them to put a street through the middle of it or anything like that.
Non-conforming.
Grandfathered in, so it was legally established prior to these codes being. As I mentioned, it's just with our review, if you remember back to New Beginnings where we had them put the north-south street in to create that connectivity. We didn't see the need to do anything like that with this development, just because it's the block that goes around the elementary school. Let's see, street sections, so Mapton has some developer standards that were created back in 2018. Speaking with the city's contract engineer, Grain Osborne Jamin, it was identified that 7th Avenue is considered a minor collector, and then Monroe and Vance are considered major collectors. And what that really boils down to is what the pavement width is required to be, and what the sidewalk widths are required to be, as well as the utility corridor and buffers. That it is based on the number of daily trips that are expected to be on those roadways. And with the proposed subdivision, is identified that there may need to be some road improvements, specifically sidewalks along 7th Monroe and Vance. And then I believe there may be some surface improvements needed for Monroe Street. I think it's in pretty poor shape along certain sections. I don't believe that the entire road would need to be improved, but that's something that'll need to be a discussion with the consultant engineer.
I don't even think it's blacktop.
Oh, okay.
Is it blacktop down there, Alex?
What?
Is Monroe blacktop behind that?
Yes, it is. Sort of. But it down along here someplace it peters out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's the part that may need to be.
It's not a horseshoe.
Non-conforming lot or parcel, is that on lot 4?
No, so
In what
what I-
way is it non-conforming?
so it's not conforming in that, the way that your development regulations read is that no block length will exceed 1,000 feet. So 1,000 feet long, you're not supposed to have blocks that are longer than that. However, the block that these two parcels are on has the elementary school and then the vacant land that they're subdividing. Between the two of those, that length of the block is about 1,300 feet. So what we're doing is we're not requiring an east-west street. So for example, we're not requiring them to extend Adams through. Right, we're not requiring the Adams to be extended over to Vance Road or something like that.
There is gonna be an alley
In the middle,
between them.
yes,
So
sir,
you get 4 on each side of an alley.
correct.
So
Yeah,
everybody has access to it.
so there'll be,
Paved alley and a sidewalk alley.
so the alley won't have the sidewalks. 7th Avenue, Monroe and Vance is where the sidewalks will be installed. The alley is primarily for just vehicular access, and then utilities are to be run down it. Yes, sir.
If a person was to buy one of these lots for building, what access would they have to utilities?
So in the alleyway, there will be city water and city sewer.
But you'd have to come from there. There's nothing on the property already.
I don't believe there's anything there. I think that there is, on Vance Road, I know there are a couple of fire hydrants there.
Yes, and also on 7th Avenue there is.
Okay, and then I know that there's some water and sewer in, both 7th and Monroe. I don't believe that there's sewer down Vance, but, with the subdivision standards, it requires the utilities to be in alleyways. So in our other subdivisions, they went through the variance process to not have to do alleyways because it didn't match the surrounding development pattern. And that's when there was the water and sewer connections getting stubbed off of the streets. With this one, the water and sewer connections wouldn't be from Seventh, Monroe, or Vance. They would all be coming down from the alleyway. Let's see, then there's standards for grades and cul-de-sacs and offset intersections, and none of those things are proposed. I do have, staff finding related to the alleyway. The preliminary plat essentially just shows it, truncating at the southern property line. I do have a requirement in here that there be a fire apparatus access turnaround, whether that's a cul-de-sac or a hammerhead. Would be up to the developer in consultation with the fire chief of what they prefer. That's essentially, so if there's the need, there can be a fire truck able to get down and turn around easily. Utilities, the standard for utility easements is 16 feet wide and centered on internal property lines or inside the external property lines of the original parcel. The way that I have it described here is that the 16-foot easement generally equals an 8-foot easement on each property for those internal property lines. The preliminary plat provides for a 10-foot easement along the street frontage of the proposed lots. And then that developer standards require a 13.5-foot easement along 7th Avenue and a 7.5-foot along Monroe. The staff report has a condition that the developer either establish easements that meet all these standards, or they propose something to the engineer and the engineer accepts what's being proposed that may depart from what's on the code. Sewer and water lines, as I mentioned, to be in the alleyways. The city uses the Department of Ecology standards for sewer system development and Department of Social and Health Services for water system development. The developer standards provides all of the requirements that the applicant and the developer will need to follow for installation of water and sewer. Because there's things like sizing of them for adequate fire flow and pressure. Sewer design needs to be sloped a certain way so the wastewater flows to the collection lanes.
Yeah. No. If somebody bought one of these for a residential property, wouldn't it be better if the whole parcel was developed for utilities?
It will be.
And it will be,
Will be.
But I don't know if I'm following your question. The whole.
well, are you talking about if somebody bought one of these lots and they wanted to, they would have to install an electrical connection and a sewer connection and a water connection?
Yes.
Okay, wouldn't it be better to have, for instance, it shows this little roadway here in the middle, to have, for instance, the water connection come down that road so that would be accessible to all the properties.
Right.
Rather than each individual have to worry about that themselves.
Right, so that's one of the requirements of the subdivision. So subdivisions are a two-part process. You have the preliminary plat, which is what we're looking at, and then you have the final plat. And what the preliminary plat is, it outlines what the city standards are and recommends approval with conditions or denial based on how everything's proposed. This staff report is recommending approval, and we have a list of the conditions of approval. And one of the things that the developer will need to do is make sure that those utilities are installed prior to the subdivision being final. The developer is requesting, so one of the parts of the code is that the city requires there to be a development agreement. And the development agreement can go one of two ways. One is that all of the utilities and all of the street frontage improvements and everything like that are built out prior to the final plat. And the final plat is when the 8 lots are recorded and you can start selling them and getting, they'll have their own individual lot numbers, parcel numbers. What the other option is that there be an agreement in place, a development agreement in place that allows for the developer to have some sort of bonding or assurance that they will complete the development within a certain time frame. And the proposal that the developer has is that there is going to be an agreement that allows the plat to be finalized with that bonding in place, with an agreement in place, where as the individual lots are being developed is when sidewalks would be developed, when the water and sewer connection to that specific lot would be installed. So that's still in play. There's a requirement that that development agreement, whichever direction it goes, that needs to be finalized before city council can make a decision on the preliminary plan.
So what we're doing tonight is simply authorizing this piece of property to be divided into 8 sections. That's all.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, future development will follow, but once this step is done, the building permits are an administrative function, so it's just building permits done at City Hall. And it wouldn't need anything in front of the planning commission. Kind of like somebody building a single family home on a lot. Same kind of a deal. There's standards relating to stormwater. And those are substantial. There's a couple of pages of those. And then, as I mentioned, there's a series of conditions, and I'll go through those. First one is that development of the proposed subdivision shall conform to all requirements of the Mapleton Municipal Code and developer guidelines. 2 is that a signalized pedestrian crosswalk shall be installed across 7th Avenue at the intersection of 7th Ave and Adam Street to provide a safe walking route to Arts Fox Elementary School. Sidewalk shall be built to developer standards along 7th Avenue, Monroe Street, and Vance Road. Sidewalk widths shall be 6 feet for Monroe Street and Vance Road and 5 feet for 7th Avenue. All lots must be served with public water. All applicable fees must be paid, easements provided, and lines installed to each of the lots prior to final plat approval. 5, all lots must be served with public sewer. All applicable fees must be paid, easements provided, and lines installed to each of the lots according to the requirements of the sewer service provided prior to final plat approval. Fire hydrant shall be installed in accordance with City of Mapleton standards. 7, utility easements shall have a width meeting the requirements of Mapleton developer guidelines unless approved by the city engineer. 8, all the easements for utilities need to be shown on the final plat. Easements need to be reserved for and granted to all utilities and to their respective successors and assigns for serving all lots within the subdivision. A drainage plan meeting the design and construction requirements of the municipal code is required to be submitted and approved by the contract city engineer prior to finalization of the plat. 10, plan and profile drawings of the proposed streets, grading and water, sewer, storm drainage, planting and public rights of way, and irrigation water systems for construction purposes shall be prepared in accordance with the city's design and construction standards and specifications for public works improvements. A set of as-built drawings shall be provided to the city of Mapleton upon completion of any required improvement. All street signs and traffic control devices shall be installed as required. At the time the final plat is recorded, all property taxes and special assessments shall be paid for the full year. The development agreement between the developer and the city, meeting the requirements outlined in Municipal Code Title 19.16.120 shall be completed. that's that section where there's those two choices for the development agreement. Then 15 relates to all of the things that need to be shown on the final plat, and I'll spare you having me go through them. And then the last thing is a notice of appeal, so anything that the recommendation you're making isn't what's appealable, it would be city council's decision. And city council's decision can be appealed within 21 days that is made. And that completes my staff report. Happy to answer any more questions that you may have. Otherwise, the next step is typically opening it up for the applicant or the developer to speak.
Any additional questions for him? Okay. Do we have any information to share here?
Good afternoon, commissioners. You may remember me from the rezone for this land. It was approved in July via city ordinance. This is being called the preliminary plat of Lux subdivision. The owner, Mr. Ruiz, he holds the company, he holds the land under his company's name, which is Lux Investments. So that's where the name comes from. Byron did a good job of presenting what we're asking to do. I've taken note of some of the things that he caught on to, like the need for a turnaround at the bottom of the alley. That's not a problem. We can accommodate that. So the primary point that we want to address is the need to complete all of the infrastructure prior to getting the subdivision recorded. Your code allows for two options: to either basically build it out or to provide a surety, and it says or other secure method of ensuring that that will be done. We're proposing a covenant to record a covenant on this land as that other secure method that will be enforceable, and it will be discoverable through a title search, informing any prospective owner of their responsibility to complete their utilities and infrastructure construction respectively to each lot or lots that they own. The same would apply to the project owner. And the way that conditions number 4 and 5 are written, they don't really include that flexibility that the code offers for a surety or other secure method to be posted. And so that's my request here, is to, when this report goes forward to the city council, that conditions 4 and 5 be slightly modified to acknowledge what's outlined in condition number 14, where there is another option available instead of paying, you know, the $1 or more $1 million to build out all of the sidewalks and utilities all at once. It provides a little more economic configuration or arrangement that can make developing this land a little more affordable.
Where you're looking at 4 and 5 is on page 4 and 5.
No, page 11.
Conditions, the one that we just.
Yes, sir. The conditions of approval, number 4.
I have a question about this covenant.
Yes, sir.
If we waive the requirements of 4 and 5, then a private person might buy lot 4, whatever. Explain to me exactly how that would work. Would he then be responsible for infrastructure
Yes.
instead of the developer putting them in up front, offering infrastructure to all 8 lots? Now lot 5 would have to bring. Explain that, how that works.
Yeah, ultimately that is correct, but it's going to be refined in a more precise way in the developer agreement, I imagine. Because regardless of which option, the code requires us to enter into a development agreement after preliminary plat approval. And I haven't seen one of your city's development agreements exactly, but they usually spell out the order of operations for all the utilities. If there are site-specific things that need to be considered, you know, because it's not always just builds sewer and water around the whole thing. You know, in this case, we have an alley that we've provided to meet MAPTN's code requirements. And our primary utility mains will be in that alley. But there will be other improvements like sidewalks along Monroe and Seventh and Vance. So the surety, the covenant will obligate the owner of whichever lot to provide all of the necessary utility connections and sidewalk, streetlights, so forth, as a condition of development.
I understand that the covenant agreement ensures that the water sewer lines, all of that infrastructure will be there. Okay, I understand that.
Mm.
But doesn't the financial burden then shift from the developer to the individual lot? The guy buys lot 6. There's no sewer line in there. Now he's responsible to put the sewer line in there.
Yes,
So the burden would go to the new owner of that lot rather than the developer who's gonna do all 8. Which be a significant,
we don't view that there will be one single developer that will build.
you know, if it's for sale now and I wanna buy lot 6. I can't do anything with it until I bring the sewer line to lot 6.
Correct.
If the developer went by the regulations on 4 and 5 now, he would have offered infrastructure to all 8 lots and it'd be there ready to go. To me, is that the case? Do I understand that correctly?
You do,
Okay.
but you may not be recognizing that the municipal code does offer another option. So it's by right that we.
That's why I need to have you explain it. I don't understand what's offered. You said this covenant agreement was not one that was offered.
What it says is that the developer can post a security or other method of surety. And
The
That-
surety I get, so now you're saying now that this new and approved covenant agreement would be in place of the surety agreement.
it would be the other that
Okay,
it allows
got
for. And we do plan on working with council and the mayor to make sure that this is, and the city engineer, to make sure this is structured in a way that does work. Yeah, but it's not part of the record tonight, so I can't really speak in much detail about the contents of the development agreement.
The only reason why I have a concern is because on ones I've been involved in the past, if you've got a series of lots down, I don't care, Vance or whatever,
Mhm.
okay, you got lot 10 down here.
Mhm.
If I want to buy lot 10 and develop lot 10, I've got to bring the line all the way to lot 10 past 1 through 9. And supposedly in the future, when 1 through 9 hooks up, they're going to pay me something back. That sort of works sometimes, sometimes not. But number 10 takes the hit, which makes it real unattractive to say number 10. Had it already been there, yeah, we'll buy 6, 8, 10, 4, 5, you know, whatever. That was my concern. And that's what we've run into before. I just wanted to make sure I understood that correctly.
My prediction is that the development agreement will address these sewer and water mains that need to be extended down the alley. If and when that happens, all lots will have their utilities available. And the only thing left to address in the security is anything along the front of the property, which is sidewalk and maybe a street light. But, yeah, that will be our next step after, going to council, is to develop that development agreement and see what the city proposes in that regard.
I could elaborate a little.
Yeah, and Mr. Ruiz of Lux Developments is here as well. I don't have anything else terribly significant. Byron pretty much mentioned it all. Your comprehensive plan does really encourage infill residential developments like this of a higher residential density. And, we rezoned it according to all of those comp plan goals that went through fine. But, Steve, if you would come up. And I'll be here if you have any questions. My name is Shane. I'm a planner by trade out of the Tri-Cities.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Esteban, the owner of subdivision here in Mapton. One of the reasons we came up with the covenant was because the city at an early stage had reached out to us saying that the city needs good municipal water. And that site was kind of like adequate for it. So we did give them the permission to drill 150 feet to test the water. Right now, for my understanding, there is good water quality on site already, and there is a test well on potential lot number 8. So the city has great news. There is good water now, right? And for us to sell or lease to the city, we can't do it without a subdivision being in place. So that means that we're in a weird situation, right? I purchased a land to do a land development. I'm currently working on 2 projects in Sunnyside, right? One unit, 18 units apartments, and the other one's, it's a street with 12 lots, containing 7 houses, 4 duplex and 1 triplex. And separating that, we have a commercial plaza coming as well. So Mapton caught my eye, right? It's coming where I want to develop here, but I need to finish in Sunnyside first. So now, that being said, the city will need a piece of land for the new well to be in place. And I told the city, well, let's work together hand by hand. If the city wants to purchase, I could sell a piece of land to them, or I could lease it, whatever the city wants. I'm open-minded, right? At this point, we're not sure if they want to buy or lease. Well, I told them, we have to figure out how much land you guys will need, right? If it's leasing, we need it in a subdivision. Now, I have a few people that have interest in building in that multifamily. Now, if we go ahead and start building all the infrastructure in, right? Let's say like the curves, sidewalks and stuff like that, which it's a little bit hard to build the sidewalks now because they're going to get destroyed once the construction starts in. Usually it's the construction, right? All the infrastructure, the construction, and then the curb and gutter and sidewalks. That's the last thing we touch. I've done it the other way around in Sunnyside where we had to put the curb and gutter and sidewalks. Guess what? We have to tear it out, put new driveway approaches and fix them. 450 feet along Yakima Valley Highway, all to trash. Spend the $60,000. Now for what? To throw it away? So I've learned we can't start with the curb and gutter and sidewalks, unfortunately. We have to start with the construction. So the covenant says before we could even get the final permit, right, we have to finish our infrastructure up to that property. So we'll be in different phases. Now, let's assume we select lot number 2, right? Then we have to bring all the utilities up to lot 2 with the curb and gutter up to that lot. Now, if it's lot 4, we'll have to bring it up to lot 4. Now, the advantage is that on 7th Avenue, we do have already sewer in place. Let's assume I say, hey, I just want to develop lot 4, 3, and 4. Then we already have an easement on the frontage where we could just put the water line in place, which is only 4 feet deep. We could place the water with the fire hydrants just on 7th Street and we could start developing that area. Now, if we start on Vance, let's assume lot 6 and 5, there's already water. We can only just put the sewer line in that street and continue it. The reason we created an alley with the sewer and water to be in place was for me to think about it. If I'm going to develop the whole project or I want to sell off some areas, right? So it was easier for me as a developer to say, hey, I just prefer to put the sewer and water in that alley lane, right? and just leave it ready, all stub out to all the lots.
See, I need you to clarify something for me.
Yes,
You're lumping all of the infrastructure together, sidewalks, curb and gutter, sewer lines, water, so forth.
correct.
You're asking us to waive 4 and 5. 4 and 5 only discuss sewer and water. We're not talking about sidewalks, and I agree with you. It would be stupid to put sidewalks in there only to tear them up. 4 and 5 have nothing to do with sidewalks. 4 and 5 have to do with public water and sewer lines. That's my concern. But you're lumping all infrastructure together and say, we don't want to go out and put a bunch of sidewalks and curb and gutter, which I would agree with. But don't add sewer, 4 and 5 only relates to sewer. Is that right or wrong? So help me with that.
I think 4 and 5 is all the infrastructure, correct, in place?
4 or 5 is the way my sheet says public water and sewer. Doesn't say anything about sidewalks.
page are you on?
And my concern was water and sewer lines, not sidewalks.
Yes, okay.
5, 4, and 5 say the side length of all pipes.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm talking,
Okay,
not 11 of the staff.
yes,
Sorry.
okay.
So it's page 13 of the packet,
That's
page,
right.
page 11 of the staff report. So same thing, yeah, this page.
Okay, I'm on 13. Does
Yes.
13 not apply to this discussion?
Nope, you're on the right page.
Okay, 13, 4 and 5 is what they want to waive on 13.
They're proposing to change the language
I understand.
to allow it to
How
fall.
can we recommend to the city council tonight to approve this package when we don't know what the new language is going to be?
So what the language, so that's where you would have a recommendation to approve this with modification to conditions 4 and 5 to allow it to fall under a development agreement. If you feel like that's something that you want
That's
to.
my opinion, not necessarily the.
Right, but that's what we're doing here tonight is so the planning commission can have their recommendation to city council and it's up to the planning commission if they would like to modify things. No matter what the development agreement is required, it's just a matter of what's going to be within that development agreement. And just straight question,
Yes.
are you gonna put water and sewer down the alley, the complete alleyway? So
Yes.
so for the subdivision, prior to the final plat, is the alleyway gonna be built all the way out with water and sewer in it?
We want to see if we could waive that once we start construction.
Okay. Wait, what part?
The sewer and water extension
Okay,
until we start construction. Once we submit like a master plans for a few lots or 1 or 2 lots to extend all utilities.
okay. Well, that'll, something that'll need to be born out of the development agreement. That'll be between the city's attorney, so
I
the
just
city.
want to make sure that I either do or don't understand the proposal.
So what is being proposed is that they're requesting that the planning commission modify conditions 4 and 5 to read that instead of saying prior to final plat approval, could be prior to final plat approval or as included within a development agreement.
Correct. And the reason we want to do this, we want to make sure that we get the partials already created, so we can negotiate with the city to lease that or sell it to them, so they can start drilling. Because right now, everything's on hold.
I get that part,
Yes,
and I think good idea, but it comes with strings attached is what I'm talking about.
yes,
And I'd like to see what the final wording on 4 and 5 is going to be. Because I still don't want to be property owner number 10 and have to pay the bill to bring the sewer line down.
We can wordsmith that right now.
yes.
I
So,
want to be here all night. I didn't mean to stir this up,
Well, my
but
suggestion is just that it reflect,
it is real important.
it would reflect the code provision that's already written in 19.16.020. There's A and B, 2 options. But option B really isn't available the way that these conditions 4 and 5 are written now. So it could say, it could end with saying, or provide a surety as provided in 1916-120.
Because right now it just says all lots must be served with public sewer or water. But we'd like it to also say, or post a surety. Because the code offers that surety as an option. Guarantees the city has something in hand. That,
That would probably work. I just want
Yeah.
to take that burden off of the property owner that's gonna buy lot 2. And that has not worked out well in the past, and it's depending on how far you gotta bring it. And how far along and at what point he jumps in.
this will be set up so that. Anytime a developer comes in and wants to build on any one of these lots. They will have extended the utilities to that lot. Meeting the city's requirements.
Correct.
Who would extend the utilities to that lot?
Whoever's applying to build on that.
Which would mean the private property owner who buys lot 10.
It's the same thing as a developer, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Usually, developers already are
There's a
aware
big
before
deal
they
between
purchase of
developer
all the
and private
utilities.
property.
Yeah, so usually, developers are aware where all the utilities are before they purchase. And within the agreement of the sale, they already know, they would know. They have to bring, and it's normal in every city you go, right? If you buy land and it doesn't have all the utilities in place to bring it up to your property. But that's a developer, feasibility period. And everyone will be aware that the sewer is down there or the water, because good thing, both of the streets do have the water and the sewer. That's all
I'll
they
try to
do.
explain myself a little better. Maybe I'm being redundant, I don't know. Okay, this happened on the west side, Puyallup area, okay?
Yes.
Developer, multi-million-dollar big developer, he put all these lots all over the place. Okay? This is exactly what they proposed, because they didn't want to have to put up the money to put sewer lines and water, road approaches, the whole thing, all the way down. Okay, we got stuck with lot, I'm gonna call it lot 10, because we all understand what I'm talking about. Lot 10 had to do all of the improvements all the way to lot 10. Because the multi-million-dollar developer didn't do that. Okay, whether we knew it or not is really here and there. It's a burden that we had to accept because we bought lot 10 and nobody in front of us bought. And so we had to do the whole thing all the way to the end. And then try to get paid back on the lots 4, 5, 6, and on down the line as they jumped on board, which is pretty typical on lots of developers.
Yes.
So I just want to make sure I understand that, but the burden goes to a private property owner, not a developer, and I know he becomes a developer, I get that. But not financially, that poor guy, you know, he buys a lot, he wants to build on it. He doesn't have money to put sewer, you know,
Yeah, so
that's the
the
thing I'm
burden-
after.
what we were requesting is to waive that, right, once we start
Is
construction.
to what?
Deferral.
Defer. Defer
Defer
that.
to the property owner.
The subdivider, which it will be me. A developer, I'll become a developer
But
as
not to the private property owner,
pardon?
not to the private end property owner.
So let's just, the property or that covenant will go to whoever owns those lots. In this case, it will be me, correct? If I want to develop one of the lots, I'm gonna bring all the
Okay, you don't
infrastructure.
develop the lots. I hate to be argumentative, but you don't develop them. You got a bunch of vacant land out there that's got parcel lot lines drawn all over it. That's great. Okay, you own the whole thing, but you're not developing it. You sell lot 10 to a private individual and he wants to develop. In order to do that, he has to bring, the private property owner has to bring water and sewer to 10. Is that correct?
That is correct. Whoever owns that property.
However,
Whoever
you're
owns and
gonna-
develops, when
but
it
the
becomes
developer-
developed.
The developer will have the sewer and water along the property line.
That's
No,
correct.
no.
Yeah, because the utilities are existing in a lot of these road frontages.
So
So
they'll be there along the property line. And the homeowner just has to
Tap in,
tap in.
tie in,
Is
yes.
that what you're saying?
No, don't go down that path.
Well,
So-
the distinction here is that in your example, you have utilities out here at the front of the development and then somebody way in the back. buys a lot and has a long utility extension. In this case right here, we've got 3 road frontages around this property, all of which contain some utilities. So it's very unlikely that any one of these property owners will be stuck with a very long utility extension.
No, not more than 1,800 feet or whatever.
It's only,
Are you bringing the utilities down the alleyway in the center of these or?
correct, yes.
Okay, if I buy lot 4 or 5 and nobody's in front of me, then I gotta bring all the way from Monroe, all the way down to lot
You
4.
don't have to, you could,
I
potentially.
can't develop without it.
Oh, there is sewer on 7th Street. You could tap into 7th Street if that's the case per se. But, and then for water, it's on Vance Road. But our plan is to bring eventually, once we develop all the
Is there
utilities.
sewer
to
on
Vance.
Vance?
Vance, there's only water.
No sewer on Vance.
No, it's on
So
Monroe.
if I buy lot 5 before you develop it and I wanna develop it, I gotta bring sewer from the sewer plant down Vance. Where's
No,
the-
just on Monroe. This,
I don't know where it is.
it's right here, just on, it's
Okay.
literally a few feet
I
away.
know we're not talking about big, huge, long
And one
distances.
that
I
way, Dr.
get
show you
that,
something real
but
quick. I don't wanna make it long, but. Right
before I
here.
was doing long distances
So
and it was
on
not
7th
good.
Street, we do have sewer running through here and running through here,
Okay.
sewer. And we do have water somewhere around here.
Doesn't seem right to me, but I understand sewer plants down here in Vance. Why
Yeah.
did they do that?
It's because
I know
everything
they
runs
want to
through here.
because there's other developments over here.
Correct. It
It's
runs,
gonna happen.
yeah, so it runs this way. And the water line runs through here, through this property
so
and around.
Maybe it's not a big a deal as I'm making out of it.
Correct,
I
because,
just want to understand what you were proposing when you get rid of 4 and 5, and I do.
so basically, if,
Okay.
let's say someone buys lot number 5, they have water. They can always request to tap in here. But from my understanding, if I want to develop all this and I want to make sure that I have the alleyway to extend my water and sewer to serve all this.
I like what you're doing here, and I'd like to see you use that leverage. And we don't need to go there. I get that, okay, and I'd
Yeah.
like to see you be able to go ahead with that. I just wanted to make sure I understood this.
Yes.
I'd
there's
also
sewer
like to
and
hear
sewer
the
here.
proposed wording that we were talking about changed tonight.
It
You've
is
got the
dirty.
proposed wording that might work?
It would be, we can come up with it really quickly because it's already in your code.
That's the alley, this alley right here.
Yes, we want to create alley just for the purpose of all the
Right,
utilities
from Monroe down to
to our
Washington
Fox
Street.
School.
Parsons School. Yeah.
Yes, elementary school. Or,
Okay.
yeah, elementary.
So what are your plans between your development and Horse Fox School?
So we want to build apartments. We have a preliminary renderings. I'll show you real quick. That we,
Build what?
apartments.
No, what I'm saying, are you gonna put a wall there? Are you gonna just put a fence there between your property
That's a
and
good
Horse
question.
Fox?
We haven't thought about it,
Yeah.
but eventually it has to be a brick wall.
Yeah.
Because of the students and the park.
Something has to be done to separate.
Yes. It has to be more, it has to be more like a brick.
Yeah.
to separate. That's the apartment we want to bring in.
So if you develop a lot. If you develop a lot yourself or 2 lots.
Yeah.
How many units will you put on a lot? Do you have any idea yet? How many?
We don't have an idea yet, but we do have a concept of building.
Okay, now where's
multi-family.
this? This is an apartment you have envisioned,
Yes,
and where's it gonna be?
on each lot.
On each lot.
Each lot, we want to make multi-family.
You mean this apartment, you're gonna build 8?
That's the plan.
Oh, okay. Now, can I change the subject a little bit?
Yes, of course.
When you came in, you said that you have dug a test well on, I think you said lot 8.
Oh, I didn't reword it. I gave the permission to the city to drill, to test the water
Okay,
on lot 8.
okay, now, let me get this straight. And you offered to sell that property to the city or lease it?
They reached out to me. I wasn't aware about the law.
Okay, okay.
And I said I'll work with the city.
Okay, now I'm just in my mind,
Yes.
who owns that water? Who has the right to that water?
City.
The city.
So it's the new new location of a municipal well potential.
Be a new well.
Yes,
It's the city that has the water rights then.
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
And the city wants to, I told them I'll work with the city. I'm very flexible. I told them, you tell me what you guys want to do, I'll work with you guys, you know? And the good thing, there is good quality of water. Now, the city is gonna bring it to city council and stuff like that to talk about the proposal. I'm not sure how the proposal is gonna look, but I told them,
I would imagine they want to own the land
Yes.
because it's the water supply,
Yeah,
like,
that's right.
yeah, so.
I would think.
So I would expect that if it all goes to plan, they would want to purchase the land necessary because you have your well location, you know, your wellhead and your pumps and everything like that. But then there's a control area for security and safety of the water.
There'll be some lot line adjustments in there. Did you say?
they mentioned that they needed about 1 acre. And that's how we came up with 1 acre parcels.
Did you dig a test well?
I did not, the city did.
The city did.
150.
I want to ask, is that water quality good?
For my understanding, according to Ask the Consultant, which is Jason, he said the water quality came a lot better, which is municipal water quality.
Okay, what
They're
about,
just waiting for the test results.
what about volume?
Yeah, I think that's I think I haven't heard anything from Jamin, but sounds like they have adequate volume and water quality.
Yes.
Because the concern was with the previous test well, it was only pumping like 7 gallons a minute or something like that, like something so small. So they abandoned that. And then with this one, it's a smaller test well, right? It's not the full size municipal well that they sink down to see what kind of flows are possible. So they hook up a pump for a day or something like that and measure the volume of water that's coming out of it so they can make sure that it would support the municipal needs. And then they're testing the water quality right now. So it sounds like they know what the volume is, but they don't know what the quality of the water is, but
You know, if they go through with this, which sounds pretty good, but doesn't that water then have to flow to the tanks on the other side of town?
yeah, it would get plugged into the existing water system. So I don't know if it'd just be a big pump. And then, because it just adds water to the system, right? So I don't think they need to pipe it one direction for it to flow back to it.
Yes.
I have a question
Yes.
here. You say this is the alley,
Correct.
so all exits would have to be on Monroe Street?
So, no, so the alley, we just want to create, we'll call it alley, right? But it's more like a utility easement. So
Okay,
we don't
so
want people to access that alley at all.
so
We just want it for
they can,
utility.
their exit would be
From
on
it.
Seventh and Vance.
Yes, correct.
Okay, not on the alley.
Not in the alley. We just call it alley, but we want to use it for utility easements. That way we could put our water and sewer extension through there. That's the
Saying
only
if
purpose.
that was only exit, that wouldn't be good.
And the reason we said that is because if we go in and tear out the roads, it's gonna be a big disaster. We're gonna have to redo both of the complete roads and that's insane. So that's why we said, hey, just create in the alley all the utilities to extend sewer and water. But like I said, we're willing to work with the city of Mapton, you know. Like I told the city, I think this is a good proposal, you know, I want to develop here. You know, it's gonna take a little while until I get all my paperwork lined up.
Where are you from?
Sunnyside, yes.
You use Sunnyside for life?
No.
Resident for life or?
No, I grew up on the Bay Area. I'm from the Bay Area. We live 15 minutes away from San Francisco.
Are you building that apartment by Walmart?
No, that's the Borden family. Yes,
You said you were building one 18 unit in Sunnyside?
correct. That's more towards the west side of Sunnyside, by the police station in Sunnyside. Yes. So our petition will be to see if you guys could grant our petition for the covenant, you know, to do all the infrastructure at a later time, once we submit our permits for our buildings, then that's the time that we have to do all the infrastructure in place. That's what we're requesting. By doing that, that will help us subdivide the property and for the city to acquire that piece of land. I gave them the options. if we do the subdivision, I'm willing to carry on a seller's financing note with the city as well. We want the city to have good quality of water and we want to develop here as much.
I don't know, for the one, because this is just another step forward for you, isn't it? This is one, you still have a long ways to go. So
It might come sooner.
Well,
You know, I have
I'm-
several projects.
I'm all for it.
Yes, appreciate it.
You have a timeline.
So right now, we're getting the final approvals with the HLA with my civil plans. So not sure, but I'll say I'll start working on this once if we come to an agreement and if it's subdivided, then I'm gonna start doing a master plan for each lot. The lot I wanna develop, and then we'll submit it to the city, but that takes months. You know, by the time I hire the geotech, the time I hire architects, civil engineers, and get all the infrastructure ready, we might be a year and a half to 2 out by that time. So what I do is we start these projects, right? And we have to start whatever we have, but we have this one backup. As soon as we finish those, then we jump to this one, because it takes a while to get to it. Yeah, because if, you know, there's projects here that have been a year and a half to 3, in your guys' books. 3 years, right? If we start trying to do a subdivision, it might take us 2 to 3 years before we get to this. Yeah, but our position would be if you guys, could grant us, you know, that covenant.
Recommend this preliminaries without addressing 4 and 5.
So make a motion to accept the preliminary plot, is this what we call it?
Yeah, preliminary plat modifying conditions 4 and 5. So this is how, the proposed, we're proposing the land to be changed. So condition 4 would read, all lots must be served with public water. All applicable fees must be paid, easements provided, and lines installed in each of the lots as allowed by Mass Municipal Code 19.16.120. Which is saying that it's that development agreement. And then condition 5 would read, all lots must be served with public sewer. All applicable fees must be paid, easements provided, and lines installed to each of the lots according to the requirements of the sewer service provided as allowed by Mampton Municipal Code 19.16.120. And that gives the flexibility to have them considered under the development agreement rather than prior to the final plat approval.
Anything else, gentlemen?
No, do you guys have any questions for me or?
Additional questions?
No.
So what that would look like on your end is someone would make a motion to approve
When you say
modifying conditions or, modifying the staff recommendation. Conditions 4 and 5, yes, sir.
With, oh, you'll have to repeat the
Yeah, I'll create, I'll
19 point whatever.
I'll revise my staff
So you can
report.
get it in your notes.
I'll revise my staff report for Marty, so when it ends up in front of city council, that new language would be in it.
Yeah, for the record, I did look at what he wants to do and we agree with that. That's what I was asking for.
No, I want it in the minutes.
Yep.
Right now.
Yes,
So what's that number?
conditions 4 and 5.
What's, no.
Oh,
what-
here, I'll just give you.
19,
municipal code is looking for.
And it's the same number that's in condition 14. So condition 14 says that the development agreement needs to be there. 4 and 5 are just referencing the same section of code.
Down here.
any additional questions? Do I hear a motion that we recommend to the city council the preliminary plat with the addition of municipal code 1916.120?
So moved.
Moved, seconded. Moved and seconded that we accept the preliminary plat with the addition of municipal codes 1916.120 to 4 and 5 on page 11.
Very good.
All in favor? Aye. Motion passed.
I really appreciate you guys
Thank you.
for all your guys' help and.
Anything else you guys have to say before we adjourn?
Just thank you.
All right.
By the way, I'm in the planning commission for the city of Sunnyside as well. So I understand both perspectives. And I really want to thank you guys for understanding our point of view. And we want to invest in Mapton, you know, and we're willing to work with this community as well.
Any other business?
We have, planning element on 5.
Oh, find it on.
Yeah, that's the one we worked on last Thursday.
No.
No,
what we
it's
did.
Andrew.
Yeah, that was the standard thing.
The requirement is.
Is that the plan?
I made, yeah, I made you guys one picture.
No, that was good. That was very good. We needed to look at all those different things. Because some of it is belonging for us.
You got the master. You're gonna give the fire.
I gave it
It's
to
in
her.
here. It's on your guys' yeah.
On the final 2 pages of her. Yeah, our final 3 pages.
Yeah, we're doing, right?
The attorney's already.
What do we need to do with that? All right.
Governor.
Commissioner Fire wants to go over it.
I saw it in here somewhere, yeah, I can't measure.
There's also.
See if he wants to go over it. I'm gonna go home.
I forget. Here it is.
If they want to talk to me about it, I'd be happy to.
Okay, we went through last Thursday and picked what we thought were our 2 top priorities for each section. And those are listed on page 85 to
89.
89.
Mhm.
So unless you have something that needs to be changed on that, or
Nope. So from here, what we'll do is, what I'll do on my end is we will start looking at the goals and policies for each of those. And, once we have that developed, we'll be bringing it back. Once things start to get drafted and put into language form, or it looks like an element of your comprehensive plan, you'll start, seeing those things in. So over the next, 15 months or so, by the end of 2026, you're going to be seeing draft elements of your comprehensive plan as well as proposed changes to your development regulations. I'm going to be working on some letters and some public notices. And this is something I need to work through with city council and the mayor as well. But as part of this periodic update process, which includes the climate element, the Yakima Indian Nation needs to be invited to participate. So there'll be a letter sent to them inviting them to participate. And then want to have an opportunity for members of the community to make any suggested changes they would like to see done to the goals and policies under the elements, or any changes to the development regulations. So it's just inviting people to come up and submit something or provide something in writing. Doesn't mean that we will accept it or agree with it or what have you, but it creates that public engagement and lets people, if they're, saying that I've been wanting to subdivide my property, but I can't because X, Y, and Z. But if the city changed their codes to allow me to do that, I would do this. Or I want to be able to have apartments in the commercial zone or something, little changes like that that we can solicit from the members of the community. Very good. Thank you.
I think that's it then.
Thank you for
Motion
doing
to
this.
adjourn.
Appreciate it.
Motion been made to adjourn. There a
Seconded.
second? Move the second is the planning commission be adjourned at 15. Thank you.
Lime.